Well, so this is Charles Dambach,
Yes.
right? And he wrote a book, Exhaust the Limits. Charles, tell us about the book a little bit.
Well, it's a memoir, but the theme of the memoir is really not about me. It's about people who are trying to build a more peaceful world. And the fundamental premise is that the use of violent force is not a reasonable, rational, or acceptable way to resolve differences. The determination of where a border should be between countries, for example, shouldn't be based on who can kill more of the other side's people. There are reasonable and rational ways to do that.
That's right.
And the only guaranteed outcome of violent conflict and war is death and destruction. There's no guarantee of a positive outcome.
That's right. I am amazed that we've met, actually, because what I'm trying to do with my novel, To Kill the Other, is to show a life that leads to such extreme choices. Why do people kill?
Yeah.
Why do we become monsters, right? All the events are historical, the characters are fictional. I feel like we should combine books and sort of talk about this subject of peace and war. And why do you think we cannot learn anything? Throughout the centuries, we've been doing the same thing, right? You are asking that question, I'm sure, in your book.
I certainly do. The good news is that we actually are starting to ask those questions, including people at the military academies. I get invited to lecture at West Point regularly.
Which means that the book is a very timely book.
It is very timely. There is a remarkable new movement worldwide of private citizens rising up and essentially saying to their governments, this notion that we're going to use violence to advance our interests is utter nonsense.
That's
and
right.
We need to be putting in place systems and mechanisms to resolve these issues without resorting to the use of violent force. And that's what we're working on, and we're actually making remarkable progress.
So you think that diplomacy has a chance in the world?
I think it has a chance, but I think the point you're making in your book about trying to understand the terrorists, the approach the United States has taken all along is just totally wrong. It is to say, we're good guys, they're bad guys, we need to kill them. In fact, I had lunch with Dick Cheney a couple of years ago.
Mm-hmm. And what was his point?
Well, he just said the same thing over and over and over and over. Said, there are bad guys out there who are out to get us, we've got to get them before they get us.
That's true.
Case closed. That's all he would say. He said, wait a second, let's try to understand why they're out to get us.
That's an interesting point. I remember when 9/11 happened and George W. Bush said they are cowards, naming the terrorists, and I said, wait a minute,
they're cowards,
no.
They hate our freedom.
Yes, no, this is so simplistic. We cannot go this route. We cannot explain complicated issues, political issues, and political conflicts of the world, simplifying it this way. This is why I wrote my book, because I wanted to understand who are these people, and when I thought about their approach, right? If they hate us, what is the reason? Am I capable of hating the same way? And I found out that I am.
We are.
We are. Well, the essence of who we are as humans, the essence is exactly the same. We want love and respect. We want to be understood. We want fresh water to drink, roof over our head. Very simple.
Everybody wants the same thing, and we want to be respected.
We want to be respected.
And the Arabs want to be respected. Muslims want to be respected. Let's try to give that a chance.
That's true. I teach at Howard Community College. I teach English writing, and many of my students come from all over the world. They are ESL students. And when we talk about global issues, and to make sure that we are all globally sort of aware, that we have this competency of global awareness, they are always very proud of their heritage.
Everybody
is. And this is another thing that makes me wonder, well, then where is the difference? Why do we really fight, right? And they tell me, well, not the one who wins is not always the one who is right.
Absolutely.
The truth is not.
That's my fundamental point. In fact, Bertrand Russell has a wonderful statement that said, war doesn't determine who's right, only who's left.
Exactly.
Only who survives.
That's right. Who is the one with more power and who is left?
Yeah.
And also the people who engage in wars, they are unable to be the person they were before. You know, I had students that came back from Iraq, right? One of them talked to me and he said, help me to understand how I can forget and become the person I was before the war. And sadly, I had to tell him, you can't.
You can't.
You have to
That's right.
reinvent yourself after move on, and you have to become a new person, a new version of yourself. There is no going back. And this book, I hope that also To Kill the Other shows that war changes everyone, always, forever. There is no going back. So, and I think that your book is absolutely, touching on something very important today, and it should become a textbook, for, colleges, universities, because I feel that maybe you are right, that maybe this is the moment now that we should talk about it and we should start a dialogue.
There's a growing awareness and recognition that might does not make right, very simple phrase, but it's true, that just because you can kill other people doesn't mean you have a right
to do that,
to do it or to prevail. And that the good news is that there is a major effort going on globally to make that point, help people at the grassroots level and at the policy level understand that and change the paradigm, change the way we operate. So it'll take decades for it to fully permeate the way we operate. But the remarkable thing, just within the last 20 to 30 years, we're starting to study war, not just have to figure out how to win the next one, because traditionally that's all we ever did.
Yes, how
to win the next one. Now we're studying war to say, how do we prevent
how
the
not
next
to
one?
have the next
Not to have it.
Yeah.
And that includes at our military academies.
Yeah.
I get invited up to lecture at West Point.
That's wonderful.
They are wanting to learn how to prevent the next war. They look at me and the work that I do and they say, we want you to succeed. They want me to succeed. They say, we don't want to shoot at people and we certainly don't want people shooting at us. Let's figure out how we can make that happen.
Well, that means that people are ready for the change.
They're ready, yeah.
That's good news.
That's the good
really
news.
Good news. Look what is happening in the Middle East right now. What a wave. Phenomenal.
Just phenomenal.
That's right.
Yeah.
So globalization and
that's the good side of globalization.
That's the good side of globalization.
Yeah.
That's true. Wonderful. It was such a pleasure to
Same
meet
here.
you.
I really appreciate it.
We have to stay in touch.
Well, we'll do that, and we've got to do a book exchange.
Wonderful. Could you please sign it for me?
Only if you sign mine.
Okay, I will.
A little diplomacy here.